Hi everyone, I'm Shelly from There's No Place Like Home at redheadmom8.wordpress.com. Well, I hope that you all had a really nice Thanksgiving. I got pretty spoiled taking that 4-day break from making videos, so I decided that I was going to do something a little bit lighter for my videos today, a little bit fun, but also something that people have been asking me about. So today I'm going to share with you 10 must-haves for every new homeschool. I think this year has been the first year that I have had so many new homeschoolers approach me and ask me for advice on what they need to get started, what sorts of things they should go out there and buy or stock up on in order to make sure that they're ready to get started. And you know, this is exciting. It's an exciting time to start homeschooling. I remember all too well when I first started out, that just feeling of anticipation and nervousness when I started. So yeah, I'm going to share with you 10 must-haves, at least in my opinion, that every homeschool needs. Not just new homeschools, although this is something that will really give you a good start, but I think that these are things that you should find in every homeschool, or at least most, because let's be honest, they're all different. Now, the first thing that I'm going to tell you that might surprise you is that you're not going to find curriculum on this list of 10 must-haves. I know that might surprise some of you, but to be quite honest, curriculum is not as important as a lot of people think it is. One of the things that you will learn as a homeschool parent, at least I hope, is that the way that the world views education is not necessarily the best way that it happens. So yes, while curriculum will certainly be something that you will look into at some point, the things that I talk about today are the supplies that will be helping you out the most to get started with your child on their educational journey. And I think that in many cases, you can, if you have these supplies, if you have this list of things at the ready in your house, you could even get your kids started on a new homeschool routine before you even get to that curriculum. Because you know, when I started homeschooling my kids, I didn't have all of the curriculum right away, but having some things at my disposal that I would be able to use as tools for them really made things so much easier. So the first thing that every new homeschool needs is a library card. And I know that some people this might be a given and other people might not really have thought about this. But with that library card, you have so many free tools at your disposal. Because remember, libraries aren't just about books, although that is an awesome thing. You know, that library really can be pretty much like a free curriculum for you. But besides those books, most libraries have audiobooks, they have music, they have movies. Some of them even let you borrow games. Some of them, I've heard, have let you borrow musical instruments. I have never had the pleasure of having a library like that, but I have heard that there are libraries who do that. Many of them, most of them, I'm guessing, will have a website that will offer you free things, such as our library website in our old district. I haven't really checked out the new library website here yet, but our old district, they had free online foreign language that you could do. There were lots of magazine articles. There was like a free math website that you could use, or a math program that you could use with your kids. And I think that was more for tutoring options. And you know, besides that, besides the online things, so many libraries offer things like, you know, story time for younger kids. They might offer craft time for kids, or maybe even like computer classes. Sometimes there are even classes that are like SAT prep, photography classes, cooking classes. Literally, everything that you can think of can be found at your bigger libraries. Now, if you are in a smaller town and don't have one of those bigger libraries, just keep in mind that your library is very often associated with those bigger libraries. So if you're looking, for example, for books that your smaller library does not have, your library can easily get them either through the program that they have going on with the other libraries or through interlibrary loan, which I've heard they're actually two different things. And you could also probably gain access to those bigger libraries for those classes. So yes, library card, don't miss out on that. So the second thing that that I think every new homeschool needs is a whiteboard. And I know that some people revert to chalkboards. They prefer chalkboards to whiteboards. I actually have used both. The reason that I don't use chalkboards anymore is because I didn't like the dusty mess all over the floor underneath it, the chalk dust. Plus, my kids are pretty known for going up on my chalkboard. Now, this was when they were younger, but they would try to draw on the chalkboard with crayon, which I think we all know ruins chalkboards, so that you can't draw on them anymore. So we have found that whiteboards work much better for our family. But really, you can use a whiteboard for so many different things. You can use it for writing down your kids' assignments, that they see what is going on that day. You can use it for writing down copy work. You can use it for writing math drills. You can use it for having your kids go up to it. Some kids prefer to do their math on the whiteboard rather than a sheet of paper. It's just more fun to them. You can use it for writing encouraging messages to your kids, for writing spelling words, literally anything that you can think of. You can use a whiteboard for. And I think that it's something that a lot of newer homeschoolers overlook. They don't realize just how useful it's going to be. But yes, I encourage you to get a whiteboard. We use it every single day. Now, the third must-have for a new homeschool is an electric pencil sharpener. There can be nothing worse than when you have those little pencil sharpeners, little plastic ones, and you have to keep sharpening your kids' pencils and sharpening them and sharpening them. And those little plastic ones, they just don't work all that well. Just make things easier on yourself by getting yourself an electric pencil sharpener. And I'm talking to myself right now. My electric pencil sharpener broke a few months ago, and every time that I'm dealing with pencil tips, I'm regretting that I have not gone out to get a new one. Get yourself an electric pencil sharpener, not one of the battery operated ones. Get one that actually plugs into the wall. I've had both. The battery operated ones are nice, but when you're using them a lot, and homeschoolers tend to use pencil sharpeners a lot, those batteries are going to keep running out over and over and over again, and you're going to have to keep replacing them. So get an electric pencil sharpener that plugs into the wall. Now, the fourth thing is related to the electric pencil sharpener. I'm going to tell you to get yourself some Ticonderoga pencils. I know that it can be really tempting to just go to the Dollar Tree and fill up on those $1 pencil packs, or maybe to go to Staples and get those boxes of Staples pencils or whatever pencils they happen to have on sale at the time. And while you might be saving yourself money at the time, in the long run, even though Ticonderoga pencils do cost a little bit more, it is so much of a better investment, because what I found with those cheaper pencils is that not only are they harder to sharpen, like your kids will sharpen them and then the tip will just pull out. So then you sharpen it again and the tip will come out, and you sharpen it again and the tip will come out, or the tip will break. And this just goes on over and over and over again. And before you know it, you know that new pencil, they've now sharpened down to a stub and they're still not able to write with it. This does not happen with Ticonderoga pencils. First of all, Ticonderoga actually sells pencils that you can buy pre-sharpened, which is really handy if you are, having a rushed day and you realize that you just bought those pre-sharpened pencils from Ticonderoga. Trust me, it's something that you really want to think about. It's a benefit that a lot of people don't think of, is pre-sharpened pencils. But those pre-sharpened pencils, they stay sharpened for so much longer. Those tips don't wear down as fast and they don't break as easily. So yes, Ticonderoga pencils. And I also have to say, they write much, much better. Some other types of pencils will write so lightly that you can barely see them, but that is not the case with Ticonderoga. I highly recommend them, and I honestly would not use any other kind if I didn't from time to time run out and get desperate and have to run to Dollar Tree, because I'm not really close to a store that sells Ticonderoga. But if I had the choice, it would be Ticonderoga every single time. So the fifth must-have for a new homeschool is to just stock up on several composition books. Now, I used to say spiral notebooks, but what I found is that composition books are actually better than spiral notebooks, simply because the papers don't rip out as easily. So you can get composition notebooks very often just at like the Dollar Tree, and they can be used for everything from writing your own lesson plans to writing down your kids' lessons for them to keep track of in their book. You can use them for spelling books. You can use them for journals. You can use them for math. You can use them for pretty much anything that you can think of. We've also already used them for copywork and also for nature study journals. They've just decorated the front and back with cardstock and some washi tape and some fun things. But yes, they're just like the whiteboard. Composition books are really, really versatile, and I highly, highly encourage you to just get yourself a stack of them and keep them somewhere so that when you need one, you can just grab it. So the 6th must-have for your homeschool, 3-ring binders. This is something else that you can very often just pick up at the Dollar Tree or a dollar store. Now, if you want one of the thicker binders, you're not going to be able to get those for $1, but you can get, I think they're either 1.5 or 2 inches that we can get at our Dollar Tree. And I will very often go there and just buy several of them, because even if you are not a notebooking family, which we are a notebooking family, so we always find them handy. But even if you're not, they're a great place for you to store all of your kids' papers. That's another question that I get a lot, is about organization. How do you organize all of the papers that your kids have? And honestly, I think a binder is the simplest way for you to do it. You know, just get yourself some dividers maybe to put in for the separate subjects, and just keep everything in there throughout the year that your kids do right in the binder. You might want to get yourself some, the clear plastic sheet protectors. Maybe if you want to get those so that the papers that you're putting in the binders don't rip as easily. But yes, this is another one of those things that if you have all of your kids' papers stored already, especially if you're living in a state that has to have a portfolio that you show to somebody, you pretty much already have a ready-made portfolio if you're keeping it in there all along. And that can really help to reduce that end of the year stress. And it helps with storage. You don't have to worry about trying to find a place for everything when you've just got everything in a binder. So the 7th must-have for every homeschool is a printer. Now, as a notebooking family, a printer comes in really, really, really handy for us. Even if you're not a notebooking family, though, very often you're going to want to print up printables for your kids, or you might get a downloadable curriculum that has worksheets for your kids to work on. And it is so much easier to be able to print things out in your house than to have to go to the library or go to Staples or wherever it is that you happen to get your copies made. It's actually easier and cheaper in the long run if you do it in your own house. So yes, absolutely get yourself a printer. So the 8th must-have homeschool item for a new homeschool actually goes with the printer. Get yourself extra printer ink. I cannot stress this to you enough. Think ahead, because in a homeschool, especially if you have more than one child homeschooling, if you've got several kids homeschooling, sometimes that ink is going to run out way faster than you think. And when you need it the most is when you're going to find out that you can't print what you need. That is when it's really helpful to be able to just reach into a drawer and pull out another cartridge that you happen to have. And this is something that I'm telling myself this too, because at this point, I'm out of ink in my printer, and I'm kicking myself because I did not go out there and get myself an extra cartridge or two. So yes, when you're getting yourself a printer, if you don't have one already, get yourself a few extra cartridges. I know it seems expensive at first, but like I said, with the printer, in the long run, you're going to end up spending less than if you have to keep running to a store or running to the library to make all of your copies. So the 9th must-have item is again related to the printer and related to the ink, and that is the printer paper. And you know, that seems obvious, but don't just get yourself like a little stack. Get one of those big boxes of printer paper, because Of course, you know, you're going to use it for your printer, but that's not the only thing that you can use it for. Your kids can use it to draw on. You can use it for art projects. Obviously, notebooking pages it can be used for. My kids have already used them for scratch paper. This is another one of those supplies that is really, really versatile. So just if you have a bunch of that paper on hand, you have no idea how helpful that's going to be, especially when you're in a pinch for supplies and you know that at the very least you've got that huge stack of printer paper. So the last must-have homeschooling item that I'm going to talk to you about is kind of cheating because it's technically more than one thing, but it's art supplies. Keep your home stocked up on art supplies, and this can be any sort of thing. This can be things from, you know, obviously markers and colored pencils, paints, different types of paint, you know, acrylic paint, watercolor paint, tempera paint. Get yourself, if you have a child who is more artistically inclined, get some better paper for them to paint on, maybe watercolor paper. Watercolor pencils are really nice. Charcoals for your kids to draw with. There are drawing pencils. Chalk pastels, oil pastels, even things like stickers. I mentioned earlier, washi tape, decorative duct tape, glitter. And I know that a lot of parents kind of back away from glitter, but trust me, it's going to keep your more creative kids busy, and it's going to keep them more engaged and wanting to do their work if they know that they're going to be able to have fun and decorate things the way that they want to. And so that is all that I have today to tell you about what you need to have, some must-haves for your new homeschool. But these are really the things that I think are so important. If you have these things to start with, you are on the right track. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram because YouTube disabled my comments. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.